Hey there, if you're playing around with the Google Cloud machine learning engine, I just went through the getting started guide and wanted to share some thoughts. So this is an excellent overview and overall tutorial. It'll take you from basically zero to deploying a model and running predictions against it. But there are a couple of things in the tutorial that are a little confusing, and I'm going to share those with you, or what I thought was confusing, and I'll share that with you here. So first of all, you don't need to do every step in here. So the setup and test your cloud environment, these are good ones. You do need to do this. So you have to this is basically like, hey, this is creating your Google Cloud, account, enabling billing, enabling the APIs, blah, 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 blah. Do these steps. Now, this is the next part that I think is a little odd, or not a little odd, but this is the way I did it. So for set up your environment, the easiest path is to choose the Cloud Shell. So if you choose the Cloud Shell, oh, that's the bucket details. It's going to look like this. And I'll make this big. And you can use, basically you're using their machine inside of your web browser. So you don't have to install anything locally on your computer. And I think this is the easiest way to go for the tutorial because it comes, all the dependencies you need are there. So I would go with the Cloud Shell. And again, that's what I did. And then you can just log in and you can start working, basically. You don't need to do anything else. They do want you to verify, they're like, check to see if you have any models. And it's like, well, I haven't created any yet. So listed 0 items. Like, okay, great, thanks. They have you upgrade TensorFlow. Again, not sure why that didn't just come standard, but no big deal. And then you do a simple, you can skip this step if you'd like to. This is just running a simple TensorFlow program locally. So that would be running inside of Python. Go ahead and start that up or clear this so you can see. So that would be just running from Python inside of the Google Cloud Shell. But you don't need to do this step. It's just to get you started. So, I mean, it's nice, but it's not, if the goal is to how can I build, train, and deploy a model, not part of it. Then you'll pull in the code. So they have wget installed in their Google Cloud Shell. That works. They give you the first step is develop and train your model locally. You can skip this if you want, it is not required. You can now, when you, again, run a local training job, you can skip because it's not gonna help you with the actual deployment step or then in inferencing. Skip. So we can skip all the way down to skipping past inspecting the logs. Okay, this is the first important thing you have to do. So you've gone into your Google Cloud Storage. Now you need to create your storage bucket. This is like an S3 bucket, and here's where we're going to store everything associated with the project. So it's going to be your data, your serialized model, everything. So you'll create these bucket names, create a bucket name, and then just follow these steps, and it'll go ahead and create a bucket for you with this command. And gsutil, I guess, is the Google Cloud utility thing. So this is what's going to enable you to write essentially Linux commands like some variation of make directory or copy ls to your Google Cloud storage. So anyway, Google Cloud storage, you do need to do this, and you're just going to upload some training data, some evaluation data, and then some test data. Very simple. So now you're going to run your actual, they'll give you some options here. I ran this one, the single instance training job. So you'll follow these steps. So you'll set a job name. They just use environment variables for a lot of this stuff to make the URLs smaller, but you don't have to do that. You can spell it all the way out. And then this is the first one. You'll just copy this command to submit the training job, and you'll pass it this output path, which is where it's going to write the output of. It's going to give you the model, and it'll take a few minutes. It'll spin up and it'll run for a little while. You can then look at the output. You can skip boom, 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 some TensorBoard, whatever. You can skip this step to run distributed training. You don't have to do that for this, just to get a quick example working. You can also skip the hyperparameter tuning. So if you want to build a good model, you want to tune your hyperparameters, but we don't have to do that for just the basics. So you can skip this as well. Now you're actually going to deploy. This is what you need to do. So you're going to create some more environment variables. Again, the output path for where the model will live. And then make sure one thing is that you match this up. So they just assume that you ran the distributed model training. You'll want to make this census_single_1 if you just ran the single training like I suggested. So that could probably be a little clearer because it's like the following sample uses the job name census distributed one. Well, it assumes you had to have done that, but you're not required to. So just make sure this matches with what you have. If you run the gsutil ls on your bucket name, this should match whatever you have. And then you can send this online prediction. This is really easy. So this takes another couple minutes to upload your model, and you can run these online predictions. And it's just, hey, you're going to call your model name and run predict, and you're going to pass it this test.json file. And I'll show you this one because it's pretty cool how fast this is. So there's the command. I pass in that input, and I get back some predictions. One thing that threw me off a little bit was I also did this submit a batch prediction, and this actually it's the same. I'm a little confused here because I'm passing in the same input, passing in that test.json file, but this takes several minutes to run. And I guess the idea is that it's done asynchronously. I'm a little confused on this one and why, and the benefit of the batch prediction, and why the extra time is occurring. But it does write out all of the responses to your Google storage. So I mean that's probably part of it. So this is one way where you can do these in batch mode. You can run your predictions. You can get a sense how good is this model, and it's all going to be cataloged and versioned and stored for you. So then, yeah, and that's it. And then the last thing you just need to do is blow away your buckets, and that will eliminate your costs. So if you just want to remove everything, it's just this. Scroll all the way down. You can just run rm-r on your bucket, and you'll be good to go. So anyway, that's getting started with Google Cloud. It's a long tutorial, but you can skip some of the steps. So all you really need to do is get your account set up, then run the training step, but you don't have to run locally, just to run the training with Google Cloud, and then do the deploy, and then do the single inference, and you're all set. So anyway, and then I'd recommend using the Google Cloud Shell. So hope this is helpful for people out there who are just getting started.